Greg's Hill, a forgotten historical railroading site located south of Waverly, Ohio, once pinched 3 railroads, a state route and a river, into one area roughly 700 feet wide. Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about a very interesting railroad and rail fanning spot known as Greg's Hill. As of present day, the CSX and Norfolk Southern main lines parallel each other for a short distance in this spot, with the CSX about 20 feet above the Norfolk Southern line on the hill. Another railroad, the Detroit, Toledo, and Ironton, also once converged to Greg's Hill, but the tracks of that railroad have since been removed. On the west side of these railroads is the Scioto River, and on the east side is the State Route 220. As the converging point of 3 railroads in a rural area, Greg's Hill has always intrigued me. And after doing some research, I have found a few clues to the origins of this spot and how these 3 railroads all ended up there. 2 of the railroads seem to have reached Greg's Hill at the same time in or around 1876. The Scioto Valley Railroad, running from Portsmouth to Columbus, Ohio, and a segment of the Springfield, Jackson, and Pomeroy Railroad running from Springfield to Jackson, Ohio. The hill was named after a farmer who owned the land, and by looking at some early 1900s maps, he went by the name of Alex Gregg. The 2 railroads did not cross paths at Greg's Hill, however, only paralleling each other until crossing paths at the Glenjean Interchange 1 mile northwest of the hill at Waverly. As time went on, the Scioto Valley Railroad would become the Norfolk and Western Railroad, and the Springfield, Jackson, and Pomeroy Railroad would become the Detroit Southern, which in later years would become the DT&I. But in the early 1900s, things would get even more crazy when the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad made its debut at Greg's Hill. The Chesapeake and Ohio was moving vast amounts of coal in the Appalachian area, but it had no way to get it to Toledo and the ports of Lake Erie. After gaining trackage above Columbus to this area, a gap was created between the C&O and the rest of its main line in the Kentucky area. So the Chesapeake and Ohio built tracks from Russell, Kentucky, crossing the Ohio River in style, and eventually making it to Greg's Hill, in which it would have connected to the N&W. The C&O would then gain trackage rights from the N&W from Waverly, Greg's Hill being the switch point to Columbus. There were a few conflicting sources on this, but this is what appears to have happened. The Russell to Columbus line is said to have been completed in between 1910 and 1926. The map I found with the C&O N&W connection at Waverly is labeled 1906. Nevertheless, after making the connection at Greg's Hill, the C&O finally completed its trek to Columbus, and Greg's Hill began to look like it does today with the construction of a new bridge and other connection points as the C&O came through, altering its path with construction, completing the Greg's Hill trio of railroads. The C&O had a connection with the DT&I at the top of the hill. The DT&I then, through a declining grade, swooped in below the C&O and then connected with the N&W in the plains to the northwest. Meanwhile, Waverly Beaver Pike declined and swooped in below all 3 railroads at the north end of the hill as it followed the N&W and DT&I northwest to Waverly. The C&O continued straight north, bypassing Waverly completely. It seems by the 60s and 70s the spot was a little more known by the railroad community. The 3 railroads in the river could all be seen right off the present-day 220, and 2 of them can still be seen today. The DT&I tracks were ripped out in the early 80s, leaving only the present-day CSX and Norfolk Southern lines. Greg's Hill is still an amazing site that deserves to be recognized. I haven't mentioned the river much, but it has caused some problems with erosion, especially on the Norfolk Southern main line. As for rail fanning, Route 220 I believe has been widened and would be a little less safe to park on and watch trains. However, there is a gravel road where the DT&I tracks used to be that might be okay to do so. Parking at the River Road crossing on the Norfolk Southern main line would be your safest bet. It is located just south of the hill and will give you the best view of both railroads as the CSX crosses the same road on a huge bridge that leads to Greg's. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.